Thank you, Larry. Good evening, Mayor and members of the Council. Before I get started, I'd like to take a brief opportunity to recognize my colleagues from the County Planning Office, the Director of Planning and Development, Jody Hall-Esser, and Marina Rush, who are here from Santa Clara County, and were instrumental in bringing this study to this state. As Larry mentioned, the study was prepared by our office, but I did it with considerable help from a number of colleagues within Stanford Land Building and Real Estates, including Dave Lennox, our University Architect and Director of Campus Planning, and Joe Stagner, our Director of Sustainability and Energy Management. The focus of the study is on maintaining compact development of the campus to prevent sprawl into the foothills and the degradation of important environmental resources. And this is consistent with sound planning practices and policies and objectives of the Stanford Community Plan and the General Use Permit. The study has three primary components: an analysis of the central campus and the applicable planning practices to demonstrate our ability to maintain compact development within the central campus, the blue area on the map, and inside the academic growth boundary, the black line here that roughly follows Junipero-Serra Boulevard. There's also a sensitivity analysis, the second part of the study, for the foothill lands to identify what the sensitive environmental resources are, protection strategies for those resources, and areas where future development could occur with minimal impact to those resources. We've also included a third element specifically not identified in the requirements, an overview of our sustainability programs. We've included this information to demonstrate Stanford's commitment to sustainability and to showcase the tools we have available to us to sustain operation and development in the campus in a manner that conserves resources and minimizes impacts. We'll begin with an overview of the central campus analysis and of the potential to maintain compact development inside the academic growth boundary, again through application of sound planning principles and practices, with particular focus on infill and redevelopment. Good planning practices for the central campus were established when the Stanfords and Frederick Law Olmsted adopted the original campus plan. Principles that further reinforce good planning, such as compact development, have been included in the adopted Stanford Community Plan, which is an element of the County General Plan. Following these principles, we can create an orderly campus that is efficient both in operations and the interactions of our academic program. The primary ordering principles from this Olmsted plan include orthogonal axes linking development quads. And the original Olmsted plan shows these quads as the central element of the plan, and we're showing how those relate to the current campus development here. Those quads are also an ideal mechanism for maintaining efficient development under the GUP. This is an illustration of our science and engineering quad, a current area of focus for campus development, where previously we had about 150,000 square feet of post-war heavy science research facilities, and we've redeveloped that area to about 550,000 square feet of development that includes enough space to do all the research, plus teaching space and office space for many of the new interdisciplinary programs that are at Stanford. In applying these principles and mechanisms to development under the GUP, this diagram shows how generally it might play out with the facilities that were already approved and built in the ochre color and future facilities shown in the darker brown. We're also showing housing development principally in the East Campus area, redevelopment in Escondido Village, and in the future development of the Quarry Road housing parcels. In order to analyze our ability to maintain good planning practices and future development beyond the current GUP, it's necessary to make certain assumptions about what the needs of the university would be within a given time frame. We've explained how we arrived at the 2035 planning horizon, and although we don't know what specific needs will be between the estimated 2018 build-out of the GUP and 2035, we can look at past trends and land use patterns to project the future and develop a range of growth scenarios. The growth scenarios we looked at include three different ranges of growth within the established campus planning context. The first range is a minimum growth scenario that reflects past slow growth rates, and a maximum growth scenario that represents the maximum growth rates sustained over a significant period of time. The moderate growth scenario, the 3.5 million square feet, reflects past average growth over an extended period of time and would roughly be equivalent to another GUP. Now, the GUP is commonly referred to as 2 million square feet of development, but when you add in the GUP and the housing, it's roughly 3.5 million square feet. And then we looked at how those studies would play out over the campus real quickly to show what the patterns might be and to see if we could accommodate that development in a pattern that's consistent with our current campus planning principles. And that was the minimum, the moderate, and here's the maximum growth scenario. And as you can see, they fit within the campus fabric pretty nicely. The conclusion of the central campus analysis is that all three growth scenarios can be accommodated while preserving the academic campus character, density, and development patterns, and that we have a tool that should aid us in looking at future development scenarios. Part two, again, is development of the foothills outside the academic growth boundary. Our analysis of the lands outside the academic growth boundary focuses on planning principles particular to these lands, past and current and future development and regulations that apply to these areas, and most importantly, we introduce a mechanism for identifying and protecting sensitive resources, what we're calling a sensitivity analysis. The sensitivity analysis that we've used in looking at the foothills lands is a proven planning methodology established by Ian McHarg in his book, Design with Nature, and enhanced through the application of GIS technology. The method involves layering of environmental factors and sensitivities to create a composite sensitivity map. The factors that we looked at include protected areas, areas protected by regulation, management zones that we've identified in a habitat conservation plan that we're currently working on with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, other environmental factors such as oak woodlands, slope, land use, and the county's own visibility analysis that identifies the visual resources there, and layering those together to create a composite sensitivity map. In this particular exercise, we've identified 46% of the lands as highly sensitive and or permanently protected, and 53% with moderate to low sensitivity, those being the areas that would be looked at if development were ever to occur in those lands. We think this described methodology successfully identifies the sensitivities and suitability for development at a high level as completed. A more rigorous program and site-specific analysis must be performed whenever we consider specific proposals. This tool does provide flexibility for Stanford to achieve the desired resource protection and to site facilities appropriately should the need ever arise. The final portion of our study is the overview of our sustainability programs that was not specifically required, but the county advised and we agreed should be included in the study given the current understanding of what sustainability means. In this report, we discuss the integration of academic, operational sustainability programs, but focus on operational aspects with particular emphasis on energy and climate, water, green buildings, transportation, and waste management. In the short time that we've had our comprehensive sustainability program together, our Sustainability and Energy Management Department was created less than 2 years ago. We've experienced some success. Note that we are one of 15 schools to achieve the highest ranking by the Sustainable Endowments Institute, and that's the only school in California that's achieved that level of success this soon with their sustainability programs. Our Provost, John Nshabendi, would now like to make a few remarks about how the GUP affects our ability to use the land to meet our academic needs and objectives. Thank you.